Morning everybody, how are you today? Another beautiful day in paradise. How do you feel when you get up in the morning? Well, that's how I feel. Yeah, okay, so today we're going to talk about Millionaire Mindset, episode 9, I think it is. If you're not where you are and where you want to be, you need to ask yourself better questions. So what do I mean by that? Well, we often go through our life after constantly being told no, settling for whatever we can get because we learn to accept, morning Stephen, where we are, even though we don't like it. Be honest. How many of us love what we do? Would it surprise you if I said that 9% of people love what they do? Morning Wendy, morning Andrea, morning Francis. So why on earth are we doing it? Survival. But who wants to survive rather than thrive? Well, I'll tell you why. Because it's the same for me when I was at school and I left school. School was never my time. I didn't get the right answers and struggled to learn correctly. I really wasn't wired up for academia at that time. Morning Craig. So with every wrong answer, constant correction and chastisement from the teacher, it taught me to stop trying and avoid the pain, embarrassment and humiliation. Morning Karen. I stopped trying to the point where I believed that nothing could work. This, my friends, is called learned helplessness. I literally taught myself that I'm helpless. Sound familiar? The great news is you can change it because it's wrong. And you can do this by asking better questions. This goes back to being honest with yourself. What I said 2 or 3 days ago. Where's my life right now? Where do I want my life to be? What can I do to change this? Who can I talk to that could help me? What do I really want to do that will make me truly happy? What step can I take today that will set me on the path to happiness? Most of all, why would I want to do this? Why would I want to put myself through this? This is the most important thing ever. Morning, Carly. Don't feel pressure to change overnight. Don't feel overwhelmed or disappointed if you can't find the answers right now. The key is to make a start and take small steps each day towards what you want to do or your goal. If history's taught me anything, it's perseverance will pay off eventually. Please remember this phrase, and I always use it. Every dog has its day. Well, I say this to myself all the time when it's not going my way, and reflect on this at the times that other people were far more successful than me go through, and their highs and lows, and how they overcame that as well. So that's how I reflect on it. Here's a couple of stories from people that you might know it's happened, but continue to persevere. I'm not discouraged because every wrong attempt leads to a step forward. Thomas Edison. Thomas Edison's teacher sent him home one day with a note for his mum, and it said, "Your son is too stupid to learn, just do not send him back." When he asked his mum what the note said, his mum says, "Teachers told me you're too clever to be in school, you're going to be homeschooled from now on." Edison's mother was the most enthusiastic champion she ever had. She was a teacher, so she decided to teach her son at home. Morning, Anne-Marie. When he was asked by a reporter, what was it like to fail over 1,000 times, he replied, "The light bulb was just an invention that took 1,000 steps." Every time Edison failed, he just asked himself a better question the next time. So the first step to turning your life around is to turn that negative belief around. I've said it before, start off by trying to do something that you're good at and become great at it to reinforce the positive feeling that you're good at something, no matter what it is. And I spoke about ironing. I'm brilliant at ironing. Don't tell Elaine. As human beings, we often reflect on our past and use this to define our future. But remember, the past is in the past and there's no future in it. You need to leave it there because the circumstances then might not be the same now. I'll give you an example. So interest rates were so high in the 1980s, buy-to-let was not possible. And yet in the mid-90s and mid-2000s, rents had gone up and interest rates had come down. And then it actually became possible. If I'd let that define me from before, I would never be where I am today, because I constantly asked good questions and reevaluated the situation until I eventually got the outcome I wanted. Persistence pays off. I often heard people tell me they tried hundreds of times and it doesn't work. But when you break it down, it often equates to less than 10 times and they just gave up. So why on earth do we do that? Because we don't like failing and we don't like rejection. Welcome to the club. I don't like it either. But what I do is reframe it and use the Edison approach. It's just another step to finding this solution. I'll bring you back to the why and how important it is as a point, and it's bigger as it's more likely than yours to succeed. Here's a story to demonstrate. A 65-year-old salesman constantly tried and failed all throughout his life to get his so-called big break. When he retired, he was broke and alone and got his first social security check for $105. He was fuming. But instead of blaming society and the government, he immediately asked himself, what could I do that could be valuable to other people? Asking better questions. Mona Margaret. He had a chicken recipe that everyone seemed to love. What if I sold this to the local restaurants and if I taught them how to cook the chicken? And then they'll bring in more customers and they might pay me royalties. So the next time, he put it into action. Now this is the key. An idea is only an idea unless you actually act on it. How many times have you said this before? When you see something successful and you say, I had that idea. Because I've said it lots of times. So he set off knocking on doors and telling each owner of the restaurants his story. Do you know how many restaurant owners laughed in his face and told him, get out of here, old man. You're nuts. And what's with the white suit? Can you guess who it is yet? Yep. It's Colonel Sanders of KFC. 65-year-old diabetic, retired and homeless, almost. Did he ever give up? No. He had the number one key to success, a burning desire to succeed, and an overwhelming why, and learning each time a better way to do it the next time, the next time. How many times do you think he heard no? Over 1,000 before he heard his first yes. He spent 2 years driving across America, sleeping in his car, and often eating his own chicken because he didn't have enough money to get by. I've done it myself. I've been sleeping in laybys in my car, getting washed and changed in my suit in motorway service stations in the toilets before meetings in the early days. Do what it takes. I had a burning desire that couldn't be stopped. And that's why there's only one Colonel Sanders. I doubt if most people would have got past 20 no's before giving up, let alone 1,000. If you look at any of the most successful people in life, you'll find that they didn't accept no for an answer. They just kept going each time they asked themselves better questions. And I'll see you tomorrow at 7:30.